With each new version of Office, we're always interested, particularly with PowerPoint, to see what new design themes and what new transitions and animations have been added to the new version of PowerPoint. With PowerPoint 2010, you can look at the various themes by going to the Design tab in the ribbon. Here you have a Themes gallery, and you're able to choose using the More button from a number of themes. As I roll over these themes, I can see the effect of my choices immediately appear on my presentation. I may decide that I like that theme, but I don't particularly like the colour palette, so I have a Colours button where I can scan through the various palettes until I find a colour palette that suits my theme more than the default. I can also change the fonts that are used by the theme from the default to any of the listed font collections. I can also change the effects that are applied to my particular presentation. I can also change the background style, or I can choose to hide the background graphics entirely. I also have a background dialog box where I can choose other background options above and beyond what I see in the ribbon. In addition to design themes, I can also look at the transitions that are available in PowerPoint 2010 by going to the Transitions tab in my ribbon. There are a lot of new transitions with PowerPoint 2010 which are really quite good. For example, shred or switch, flip. Actually, I might click on slide 2, it'll show you better. And flip, gallery, queue, doors, box, and a whole lot more. And even each transition has its own effect options. So I might choose box, but I want it from the top. Or I want it from the left. So the transitions are really good. You can also apply a certain duration to each transition to slow down the transition or to speed it up, and I could do it on a slide-by-slide basis, or any choices I made in here could be applied to all slides in my presentation. I can also advance the slides on click of my mouse, or I could automatically advance the slide after so many seconds, and I'd simply stipulate that in there. The other thing you've got are animations. When I go to animations, I can click on a particular object and apply any sort of entrance animation, emphasis animation, or exit animation. So I might go for a shape, for example. A shape is an entrance animation, and I can also change it that it goes out or in, as a box, or as a plus. There are all sorts of animation effects that you can choose from, and you can add further animations to the one object as much as you like. Ultimately, once you've applied your animations and your transitions and all your objects and your text, you want to control your slideshow. If I choose the Slideshow tab in the ribbon, I have the ability to set up my slideshow using the Set Up Slideshow button. I can ask it that it loops the slideshow continuously until I press Escape, that it does all the slides or certain slides, and that it advances the slides manually as I speak, or it uses the timings that I set in the transitions earlier that I mentioned. You can also display the slideshow on a primary monitor, or you can show it on a second monitor. Ultimately, when I want to start my slideshow, I can start it from the beginning, and the shortcut key is F5, or from the current slide. So I might press the shortcut key F5. When I press F5, irrespective of where I'm sitting and what slide I'm sitting on, it automatically runs the presentation from slide 1. Personally, I like to use the key N to go to the next slide, and then N again to go to the next animation, and then N again to go to the next slide, and N again. If I want to go to a previous slide, I'll hit P for previous and N for next. If somebody, I'll go previous. If somebody wishes to speak, I often, as a sign of respect, will put the presentation to a black screen, which takes the focus away from the presentation and allows the person to talk. So I'll hit B for a black screen. When I hit B again, it unblacks the screen. Alternatively, you could press W for a white screen, and then W again to unwhite the screen. Another thing you can do is if somebody comes in late and you quickly want to start the presentation from slide 1 again because you haven't really got started, press the number 1 on your keyboard and enter, and you'll go back to slide 1. But if somebody says to you, can you please jump to slide 5, press 5 and enter, and you've gone to slide 5. If I then want to bring up a pen, I can hit Control P and my mouse becomes a pen. And I'm able to underline, tick, cross out, and draw things on my presentation. And when I want to erase it, I'll hit E to erase it. And at the end of the day, when I want to stop, I'll press Escape. But before I do that, if all of those shortcut keys suddenly go flying out of your head at the time that you need them, always remember that you can hit the right mouse button. If you hit the right mouse button, you can go to the next slide, the previous slide, you can go to a specific slide number, you can put your screen to black or white, you can switch to a pen, and you can also end the show.